What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Noah, and this will be the first episode of a 4 episode long series of what lures I'm going to be throwing this spring. So, episode 1, which is the one we're doing right now, will be about like all the finesse presentations, mainly thrown on a medium 7 foot spinning rod. The second episode will be about cranking, basically. Everything I'll throw on my medium heavy setup. The third episode will be everything thrown on my heavy setup. And then the fourth episode will be everything I throw on my extra heavy setup. So, the reason why I chose to split it up into 4 is because this would be a really long video if I decided to bunch everything together. So, yeah, we'll just break it up by each setup, and it'll kind of give you a better idea of what lures you should be throwing on your own rods, because it's pretty common for me to see people throwing lures that are way too light or way too heavy on a rod that just doesn't pair well. So I feel like if I do this video, it'll give people an idea of what lures they should be using for whichever setup they have. So let's get started. All right, let's get started with the first episode, or first episode of the series of what spring items I'll use. I'm going to be going over everything that I'll throw on my finesse setup. This is a 7 foot medium fast action Lose Mock Crush speed stick. I've had this spinning rod for a while. It's everything. I throw all my Ned Rigs, all my finesse baits on it, and it's had no issues at all. That's the rod. Reel is a Penn Battle 2. This is a 2000 size. I have 8-pound braid mainline and 6-pound fluoro, I guess top shot or whatever. I wouldn't even consider it a liter. It's like a lot of fluoro. Anyways, the reason why I'm using 6-pound fluoro is because I like the diameter. Uh, it's really skinny, so you can use it in like clear water, and as well as having great sensitivity and control over lighter baits such as this. So that's the setup that I'm throwing it on. I guess I'll just go over some lures that I'll pair with this rod. Starting with the thing that I've been using. This is a Ned Rig with a skirt on it. You can see that. There's a crayfish lure imitation by Z-Man. So it's like a miniature, hold on. There's like a miniature jig. Reasons or times when I would throw this. Muddy water. You can also throw it in clear water too, but I feel like in muddy water it'll give off a good silhouette and larger presentation. So that's the conditions I would throw it in. I'll usually throw this when I'm like following behind somebody. So like if I go out fishing with friends, or if there's just other people at like the public spots that I fish. Most of the time they will be using different lures. And when you go with a smaller presentation like this, you can usually catch some of the fish that the people before you missed. Some of the more sensitive, smarter fish, like the larger bass, or some fish that are just feeling picky that day, will ignore the baits of whoever was fishing before you. So when you come behind them, or whenever they move on to whatever different part of the pond, you can go to exactly where they were fishing and throw something like this and still catch really decent fish. So I would definitely recommend this. How you fish it? I usually fish it off the bottom, nice and slow. Not too much cover, so if you know there's like a ton of rocks or like a lot of things you can get stuck on, might not be the best idea, simply because you're using such light line. But yeah, so fish it off the bottom. I like to do a lot of like hopping with it and jigging. So you just, give it 2 or 3 pops of the rod, like pop, 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 and that bait will just go up. And then when you get most of your bites is when that lure is actually hitting the bottom and just sitting there like that. So what to look for is you'll jig it up and then you'll watch your line. It'll be on the water. And as it's sinking, it'll stop. But if you see that your line starts moving like away from you, like if the tension starts getting tight, or if you notice like a lot of slack, that means the fish has picked up your bait, is now swimming away with it. And at which point you would reel down and slowly set the hook. This is not a setup where you can like reel down and just absolutely whack them. You're fishing with a really tiny needle-like hook right there, little needle. So you don't need a lot of pressure. You can just, once you realize you have a fish, reel up a little bit of slack, and you can slowly, like really, you can just start reeling on them. But I'll like lean a little bit. I don't know if I can make you understand. So if I realize I'm fishing and I realize I have something, I'll reel down the slack and I'll just kind of sweep a little bit. I'm not whipping it. Just sweep and reel. Just keep reeling. That's usually all it takes with that really needle-like hook, which is definitely a good thing. Another bait is, it's pretty much the same thing as before. It's the regular Ned Rig, but this one doesn't have a skirt. When would I use this? This is more for like more clear water situations. I like the lighter heads. Just, I like it to fall very slowly. I don't want it to absolutely bomb straight down to the bottom. Just me personally. Color wise, this is like a darker green pumpkin, which I would use in clear water. If you're fishing in really muddy water, I probably wouldn't even throw a Ned Rig. But if you really wanted to, you would try and find like a dark color like this with maybe some chartreuse, or might like a black and blue maybe. But yeah, and you fish this the exact same way. You throw it on the bottom and you just give the rod a couple twitches, and you're just watching that line, because when a fish grabs it, he's gonna grab it, and most of the time he's gonna swim off with it. So the moment you see your line start to drift off to the side, or if you see like your line just come tight even though you're not reeling in any line, just set the hook on that, dude. So I'm gonna show you how I tie my loop knot for Ned Rig style baits real quick. Like so. As you can see from the loop, line from the right is going into the top of the circle and out the bottom. So with this tag on the left side, we're going to go into the bottom of the circle, out the top. Going to get this loop close to the eye of the hook. Grab this. There we go. We're not pulling it down, pinching it with the left hand. We're gonna wrap about 5 times. 6-pound fluoro. So wraps depending on the diameter of the line you're using. Okay. So we're gonna go in through the top and out the bottom this time, like so. Now I'm gonna wet it. I'm gonna pull this tight. You can also help it along by pushing the knot loops together a little bit. There we go. That is tight. that's what we're looking at here. So I'm gonna cut this tag. Oh, missed it. Perfect. That is the presentation that we want. This is a drop shot. So what it is a little drop shot hook, and you would take like either a fluke or like a straight tail worm like this. This is a robo worm. But what it basically is a finesse presentation where the weight is on the bottom, which is connected to the hook, but this allows you to fish your whatever bait's off plastic off the bottom, which can be good. I've caught a ton of fish doing this in the winter and in the summer too. Basically, when fishing gets tough and you need to slow down, this is a great option for you. I'll go over rigging. So this is what the hook usually looks like. That's what the hook looks like. And what you can do is take your little worm, right? And what you're gonna do is hook it into the chin first and then out the nose. You just want to be as straight as you can with it. There we go. The nose just like that. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, I'll put footage on how to rig this. So I'll just be showing you how I tie a drop shot real quick. So this is the line that I'm using. Let's just imagine this is the main line coming straight to your rod. What you got here is, we'll get rid of that worm. We'll talk about that later. We have basically a drop shot hook. I think they're called drop shot hook, not octopus hooks, like egg hook or something. Anyways, so we'll put the line through once. And for drop shot, you want to have a long tag. Put it back through. Okay. What we're gonna do is tie a basically long Palomar knot. So all that tag is on the right side. This loop that we made is on the left. We're going to make a loop using this part. Okay. Got our little loop going. So we made a loop here. Grab this loop tag and put it through this hole. That's what I'm doing right now. Okay. Now that you pulled the loop through that hole, you're gonna put the hook into the loop like this. And you're gonna pull that tight. Definitely recommend wetting before you pull. Okay. Boom. Now, we're going to find where our tag line is at. There we go. So you see, so this is all main line right here on the right side, right? And then this is all tag. Take the tag and put it in with the hook point, hook shaped like this. You're gonna put it in through the top and out the bottom like this. Go like that. All right. You're gonna pull on that tag. Boom, just like that. Now, for the bottom tag that you just pulled out, you're going to basically just tie a loop. So I got a loop like that, and you're just gonna tie like an overhand knot almost with this. There we go. Make a little loop. Put your loop through the loop that you made. Little loops going on here. Okay. Pull that tight. Now you have like a little loop here. Got a little loop. That's probably easier to see. You're gonna take your little drop shot weight with a tag on top and stick that loop through
that big hole right there. Try and get it through. There we go. All right. Now you're gonna stick this weight through the loop, like so, and pull. There we go. So now that's secure, and this is secure. Just for demonstration purpose, I'm gonna cut this a little bit. So now this is your rig, basically. It's your drop shot. You got the hook point facing up, got the tag to the weight, and then you take whatever kind of drop shot lure you want. You can use a fluke or like a straight tail worm like this, and you're gonna hook it so that way you hook it into the chin and it comes out the front of the worm. That's how I do it. So we'll just put it in like that, try and get dead center. You know you've done it right when the hook point is coming out the worm's face, basically. And that's pretty much it, man. There you go. So when you're fishing it on the bottom, throw it out, the weight will sink to the bottom, and then your lure will just be slowly floating down. And every time you give it action, the weight will hop off the bottom and then sink again. And then your worm will be hanging there. If you give it a couple of shakes on slack line, this worm will start to move and you'll catch fish that way. So that's how we rig the drop shot.
So that concludes today's episode on finesse fishing. It's the first episode of the 4-part series. If you guys have any video recommendations of what you want to see in the future, just leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you. Hope you guys learned something, and thanks for watching.